What's up, everybody? It's Iggo. A couple of years ago, I made this video talking about the potential of Xenoblade X coming over to the Nintendo Switch, and with the official announcement of Xenoblade DE, this has started to pick up some traction, so I wanted to make an update video about everything we know and what we're hoping to see in this upcoming game. Now, the original reason that Xenoblade X didn't come over to the Switch immediately was actually Monolith didn't have enough money. Tetsuya Takahashi said that he wanted to bring the game over to the Switch, but that they didn't have the funding for it. Now, Xenoblade was extremely successful on the Nintendo Switch with Xenoblade 2. Xenoblade DE, we saw even better sales, and then Xenoblade 3 really rounded those three games together and created enough money and just a strong following for Xenoblade to get Xenoblade X onto the Switch, which I'm super excited for because X, I think, has the best gameplay out of the three games, although I'm very impartial to Xenoblade 2's combat system. I think it's the best of the three. Something about the skells and the ground combat combos that you can do in Xenoblade X is just so unique and exciting. Now, there are some major changes that are coming to Xenoblade X. The big one is obviously it's just going to look better. I'll put a side-by-side here on screen. We're looking at a major overhaul in graphics. Something that I worry about is that the original Nintendo Switch may struggle to run this game at those levels. So we might be looking at frame drops, we might be looking at 30 FPS. My hope would be 60 FPS for this game, maybe at a reduced resolution. And then when the Nintendo Switch 2 drops later this year in November or October, that we would be seeing an improvement in graphical power and effect. Now, the Nintendo Switch at this point is the Xenoblade machine with all of the Xenoblade games on it, which is really exciting. But Xenoblade DE is going to need some major changes if it's going to sell well and keep Xenoblade series alive. One of the big changes that I would like to see is not only the graphical performance increase, but I'd also like to see some of the gameplay improvements and quality of life. I'd love to see either epilogue to the game, like we had with Torna, or a post-game extended content to round the game out. The original X was so focused on the gameplay that the story was left leaving a lot of holes, and the game even ends on a cliffhanger. So adding to that content like we did with Xenoblade 1's Definitive Edition would be a really nice add-on for players to round out the story. With that, I'd also like to see an improvement in the online features of this game. The current nature of online gaming is that every service will eventually be shut down. Some may last longer than others, but at some point, the company running these services will deem it not profitable enough or worth keeping up. This happened fairly recently with 3DS and the Wii U eShops, causing related online services, including Xenoblade Chronicles X, to be shut down. There were certain items in Xenoblade X that you could only attain through online gameplays and missions and challenges. I would like to see this game be more sustainable and those items and skills be available outside of an online mode. When starting up X, players would essentially be asked to join a server of other players where they could determine who they can party up with in online missions and add bonuses to the single player experience. If any player on the server accomplishes a certain task, then all players would be awarded the item. Now, this would essentially look similar to an MMORPG, and I know that's a big ask of Nintendo because they usually aren't super involved with their online services, but they're falling behind in terms of online services with PS5 and Xbox, and those systems even being able to do crossplay with PC platforms. If they're going to be able to survive in this market, they're going to have to make some changes to this online gaming experience. Another change I'd like to see to the game is a Definitive Edition treatment. The original Xenoblade 1 Definitive Edition had a casual mode to the game. I'd like to see that same casual mode brought over to Xenoblade X. Not everyone is a hardcore Xenoblade, I'm gonna grind out this RPG player, and having a casual mode that reduces the game and makes it a little bit more easy to play and more palatable is going to bring this to more audiences and make it a better experience for everyone involved. Now, that being said, I don't want casual mode to break the game and make it too easy like the original Xenoblade DE did. If I remember, I'll put it in one of these corners somewhere. So there's a big change to this experience in terms of what are we getting from the story? Are we getting something before the game, after the game, and then can we make the game a more palatable experience for players? I'm also hoping for a change in the combat system. The original combat system, ground combat, where you were just as the regular players, had a lot of options in terms of the class system. But when we got up to the big robots, the Skells, which I was really excited for as a Gundam fan, the options were much more limited, and you could actually do more damage as a tiny person to this giant monster than you could in a giant robot, which didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So I'd love to see the Skells get a little bit of an overhaul in this game. I'd also like to see maybe some new Skells added to the game, so more options to where we could have more customization options, more color options, which the original game gave us a lot in terms of that, but I'd love to see more. What can we do next to upgrade this game and bring it to the next level? Because we're not getting a Xenoblade X2, they're going to have to do something unique here because, like we mentioned earlier, the original Wii U only sold 15 million copies. The audience that's really looking at Xenoblade X is either people who haven't played it before and have played the other Xenoblade games and are kind of interested, or people who have played the original and are really diehard about the game like myself, but that market's small. So that we're going to need to reach out in a way that's going to make this palatable and more exciting for current games to keep up in this current market. The next thing I'd like to see change, although a bit more nuanced, is an increase in the text size and font, and also more options to edit our UI and HUD. It gets really messy, and I'd like to just see it cleaned up and be much more organized. And my final thought in this video is, what's next for Xenoblade? The Nintendo Switch at this point is now the Xenoblade machine, playing Xenoblade 1, Xenoblade 2, Xenoblade 3. We have the Torna and future connected additions to Xenoblade 2 and Xenoblade 1, and then we also have the addition of Xenoblade 3 and all of its DLC characters. So what is Xenoblade X going to bring to the table, and what is next for Xenoblade? Are we going to see an X2? Are we going to see a Xenogears port? Never going to happen, but you can dream, right? Or even the Xenosaga games from the PlayStation series. Now, these games are under some copyright issues, and that's why we haven't seen them come over yet. And it's very unlikely that these additions would be made to the series. But bringing back that original content to show kind of where Xenoblade all started would be really interesting. This video was just meant to be a quick, dirty kind of explanation as to what we're hoping to see. Put down in the comments below what you hope to see in Xenoblade DE or what you think the game needs. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.